Hi, this is for QSO 321, People's Planet and Profit. And during our second class meeting, we worked on productivity and we went through example number one. And so I'm going to repeat this example that we did in the classroom by using Excel so that those who didn't catch up what we did, they can actually redo it and follow and see how we did it. And so the question says, calculate labor productivity for the following operation. And here we have three employees who are supposed to process 600 insurance policies in a week. And they work 8 hours per day, 5 days per week. And therefore, we need to calculate labor productivity. So we used Excel as follows to solve this question. First of all, we had to develop a model, and this model could help us to solve not only this kind of a question, but if there is any other question that is related to this particular example, then we could use the model and find the solutions as quick as possible. And I'm going to show you how we could do this. So the first thing I will advise is to write the formula. And we know that we are looking for productivity. And the formula for productivity is the output per input. So in this case, we are asked to find labor productivity. And I'm going to consider productivity as P and labor. I'll write labor as L. And therefore, so productivity of labor is the output per input of labor. And so as we said in the classroom, we could find the labor productivity in terms of the units of labor in the production. For instance, we can see how many people that are employed to produce the required output, or we can see amount of time that spent to produce the output, or we can also look at the cost of labor to produce that particular output. Now, in this case, if you look at the example, we can see that we have three employees and they have to process 600 insurance policies. And these three employees work for 8 hours, 5 days a week. And so you can see that we are focusing on the labor hours spent to produce these 600 insurance policies. And therefore, here we're looking for labor hours. So in this case, we're going to develop our model. And so here we have output. And let me skip a little bit here. We have inputs, input or inputs. And so for the output, we have 600 insurance policies. That is what is supposed to be done. And so I'm going to write here 600 units. And these units are the insurance policies. And so if that's what we need to produce or to make or to process, then we are going to require the labor to process. And so in this case, we have three employees. And then these three employees are supposed to work for 8 hours. And they are supposed to work for 5 days a week. And so then we are required to find labor productivity. But before we do that, let's find the total input, because we can see that all we are looking for is the number of hours spent to process these 600 units. And for these 3 employees, how many hours are they going to spend? And so in this case, we're going to put equal sign, which will help, will provide us with a function. We're going to take 3 employees times 8 hours times 5 days a week. Sorry. So I'm going to take so what I did here was to take 3 times 8 hours times 5 days. And so we have 120 hours that will be spent to process these 600 units. And so since we have total input and also we have output, then we can apply this formula to know the labor productivity. And so I'm going to write here productivity. And in this case, I'm going to put equal sign. And I will click on 600 policies per 120 hours. And so if you enter, you will see that we have 5. And so in this case, we have insurance policies, I'll say units per hour. So that means productivity of labor will be 5 units per hour. So I'm going to copy what we have done and keep it somewhere else. And so I'm going to paste it there. And so that's the solution to what was asked. But we're going to do something a little different. And let's assume that we need to produce more insurance policies. And so in this case, assume that instead of having 600 units, we need to have, let's say, 800 units. I'm going to highlight this to show it something different from 600 units. And so the question is, if we use same employees, same hours, and same days, what will be the productivity of labor? And so productivity of labor would actually change from 5 units per hour to be approximately 7 units per hour. And so you can see that we are using our model, which we have developed, and to do anything or to answer anything as it may be required. Let's say, for instance, we want to change the number of employees to be 5. And so let me also highlight this 5 to show that we're using another set of employees, not 3. So you can see that if we want to produce 8 units of insurance policies and we're using 5 employees, then productivity of labor will be 4 units per hour. So in this case, you can see that by developing our model, then we can actually do any change we want and find productivity of labor. And that's why we used Excel to create the model that will help us to solve that particular question. But also, if there is any other requirement, then we won't waste time to find productivity of labor. All we have to do is to change what is provided. And here you can see we could also even change the number of days that employees will work. Assume that they're working for 2 days. Just came up with that value, and I'll highlight it as well. So you can see that if we have 5 employees and they have to work for 8 hours for 2 days, so productivity of labor will be 10 units per hour. That's why I wanted you guys to, first of all, develop a model and get the solution is what we get here But if there are additional questions, then you can use the model to. So remember how we created the model, and especially how we found the total input by using Excel function, and also how we found productivity by using Excel function. Thank you.